reported today that Tom Gores and Troy Weaver, they will be meeting with the 3 finalists for head coaching candidates for coaching vacancy for the Detroit Pistons, which is Jaron Collins, Charles Lee, and Kevin Ollie. So those are the 3 finalists. So we definitely looking forward to see who's going to be our new head coach. Definitely, man. I know the odds favors. It says Kevin Ollie. That's a lot of fans' favorite, out of those 3. So, fellas, how y'all feel about these candidates? Were you surprised? Do you have any mixed emotions about it? Do you think you should, Troy Weaver should have, a couple more candidates to interview, being one of the finalists? How y'all feel about it?
Go ahead, Bree.
Well, I know I'm not surprised by these 3 because I know they have the pedigree and they've been assistant coaches for a long time. So, now as far as like more candidates, there's a couple candidates I would say that I would think should have been up there. Like I said, some people think we should try to go for Nick Nurse or Budenholzer now that he's been fired. So just a few of them. But yeah, man, I like Kevin Ollie because he's been he knows the game. He knows how it is to coach these young guys. He's won a national championship. So I like him. I think he's a good coach. You kind of don't know what to expect with Charles Lee or Jaron Collins because they've been assistants. So they've been around that pedigree, but you don't know how their coaching style can be. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like an unknown coaching with them. So I don't mind Kevin Ollie or Charles Lee, especially with Udoka going to Houston. That kind of just takes that out. So, but I'm fine with those 3. I don't have an issue with that.
Okay, cool. What about you, Nomas?
Okay, well, before I give my opinion about it, first off, everybody, make sure y'all stay to at least the last 10 minutes mark of this podcast because we got a special announcement we want to make too. So just keep y'all minds on that. So make sure y'all here for the last 10 minutes of the show. But as far as Kevin Ollie, now, I ain't gonna lie, I know the least about him. But I know a little bit about him. Like I said, he has a pedigree, for being in the big games and stuff like that. He's a solid coaching candidate. If Troy Weaver is cool with it, then if he like it, then I love it. What I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's not about what the name is and who he used to be. It's about what he knows as a basketball coach. And at the end of the day, do he know the game? Is he up to date with the systems and how NBA is running? That's the thing about it. I'm saying you got a young team coming in here, so it wouldn't like he wouldn't know the atmosphere. It's about how well he or any of these candidates would adapt. We said this about Charlie Lee. To me, he was probably the most experienced between him and the other guy, probably have come in far as NBA, being around NBA players, man, and being around the league. But we've seen coaches, who were head coaches that were unproven, go and be successful. You know what I'm saying? So, he can probably follow suit. Now, I know when you think about John Bielanck, I think if I'm correct, Kevin Ollie was only a college coach, right?
Correct. He was. No, go ahead. No,
you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying he was the head coach of UConn. They won in 2014.
Right, and that's my thing because you look at John Beilein from our very own Michigan. He didn't fare too well in Cleveland. It just didn't mix. He was older too, so and his style of coaching just didn't mix with the young team. Then after that, I think that's when they brought in Tyronn Lue. So as long as it's not in that situation, I think that should be a fine hire. I do think this team, I don't want to say they can't be a playoff team in the next year or not. We can't scale it because we only know what the roster will officially look like. But, you could tell the Pistons, to me personally, I feel like with Ali, I think it could be a good hire, again, because it's more personal time for young players. Him understanding the emotion that they go through, the processes, how to get them in order. Being a college coach to win a championship in college, you have to be able to command the locker room with those guys. So you got a lot of young guys who only been in the league for a couple of years. That's not the worst hire in the world either. You know what I'm saying? Because he might be able to understand their language while he's learning as a coach. You know, it can kind of come off as two ways. You know, if you look in the football aspect, you know, he can either end up being like Cliff Kingsbury, where you hope that don't end too bad, you know, and maybe he don't work out, you may have to get another coach, or we could be on the question mark of what's going on with Dan Campbell, you know, where he wasn't the most experienced head coach. He was an interim head coach, but he has never been able to start a team from ground up, build it like he is now. So it could end up being a hybrid of that, you know, if you know, different sport, of course, but that's what you are looking for in any of these hires. And can they contain the locker room? Can they get them together? Can they keep them focused? So as far as that go, wherever he go with again, I'm cool with it. I'm just looking for the best option we can get. I can tell though, and maybe I'll disagree, that they really low-key want to hold out to the finals, but I feel like they forced to kind of make a decision in the next couple of weeks because they know the draft will be around and all that stuff, and they want to get the locker room adjusted with the new guys. So I think deep down in their heart, they want to wait till the finals are over with, but they came down to 3 conclusions. So, but that is what it is. That's what I think about it.
Okay, you know, I definitely agree with you saying. Like it could be a hybrid situation. Like you said, you use Dan Campbell as an example. I know, you know, it's a different sport, but you know, like you said, we'll definitely see how it turns out. What Troy Weaver is going to do. Like I said, you know, I don't have a problem. What Troy Weaver is doing. Like I said, he you know. You know, he like it, I love it. As it comes down to, man. But as you say, you know, I you know me, I wish there'd be a couple more candidates out there, you know what I'm saying, that he could have had as a finalist. But I understand, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, like I said, Kevin Ali is probably the odds favorite to be our next head coach. Like you said, the guy has, you know, he's coached, you know what I'm saying, in the collegiate level, you know what I'm saying, he's a national champion, you know. He did some good things as a player. He was a good role player, you know what I'm saying, in his NBA career. So he knows the game. He knows the game of basketball. He's been around basketball for a long time. So I'm not saying like Charles Lee or Jaron Collins wasn't been around basketball a long time either. But, you know, we know a little more of Kevin Ali because, you know, when, of course, you know a little more of Jaron Collins. We don't know much about Charles Lee. I don't even call him Charles Lee played in the league or not, or he's just always been coaching. But again, you know, these guys can help this young core of, especially with Ivy and Duran and Cade and Killian and Isaiah Stewart, help this young core and get somebody like, you know, if we get Wemby, you know, or, you know, Brandon Miller, get guys like that can help this team, you know, get them back to the right direction that we like once we had, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to it, man. We all definitely looking forward to it. You know, like I said, we definitely gonna be updating so on that. So yeah, go ahead, no.
Oh, and the thing I was gonna say too, people gotta remember, like what Dwayne Casey said, I think King shot to him. He said in his video the other day where it's like, you know, this is not the year for mistakes. And the thing about it is, we still don't know what we're going to be ultimately as a team in the next couple of years. So you have to get something started. You know, I don't think they're looking for the coach. They think go get them to the finals in the next 3 years, because we may not be, no matter how good the coach is, we may not be ready for the finals for the next 3 years. So right now it's about getting us a consistent, you know, top 6 seeds and trying to be, you know, consistent in the playoffs every year right now. So that's what the object is: make the playoffs, be in the playoff, play in, and eventually consistently make the playoffs. This coach, again, who we hiring may not be the end all be all. We don't know that yet. So I think that's why, you know, for all we know, Ali could be the best option out there. You know, Udoka, for all you know. You know what I'm saying? Despite his experience being in the NBA Finals and being with those, you know, talented players, for our situation, he could be the best. You know what I'm saying? Just because you don't know that much about him, or you think it come from college program, I mean, it can't work. So, I mean, again, Troy Weaver feel good with it? I'm good with it. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. So, any final thoughts before we move on to the Detroit Lions topic? Any final thoughts?
Great.
I want to Yeah, especially, man, you got to be leery too of trying to get college coaches too, because sometimes you bring them into the NBA, they might not. It's a totally different thing. So that might be, and to a college coach, that might be overwhelming to them.
Yeah,
because they're not used to that. Like kind of like how John Beeline it was. It was just overwhelming, and then when you're dealing with veteran players who's actually been in their finals, and you're telling them, "Oh yeah, well, certain things you tell these players, they're not gonna do."
right.
So it's you got to be leery, and then you got to command. You got to command the players and the locker room. So that's big, I think, to me when it comes to being a coach. You have to demand the locker room.
That's true. I agree. But I think the difference in our situation with the Beeline was way older, not a date. And you coming from college program trying to come in with a veteran team that has some veterans on there. But us, I think, because they so young, I don't think the oldest outside the guys like, Alec Burke and, a couple of guys that we traded for, as far as the players we drafted, I don't think nobody's 23 yet. So it's like with them, they don't have a veteran in the locker room to listen to, and he got to go acquire some. So whoever he's coming in with, whatever they choose to bring around him, they will have to come in knowing like, hey, you got to be a part of what this coach saying to do, because the best players on this team are going to be the kids that's drafted here. Cade, Ivy, Duran, Killian, even if you want to throw them in there, even Livers to a certain extent. Like the best players are your kids. You're trying to get some veterans to help into us. So it's about, again, if he is the head coach, it's about, do they trust him enough with a young team to try to push it like with OKC? Can Cade stay healthy this year too to kind of have that, be our Shane Gilgeous-Alexander for us or something like that? Or one of those, okay, that's another thing we got to do. The year is trying to, at the very least, we should be aiming for the play-in. And I think that's what it comes down to. You're right about that 100%. I just think the scenario, because I feel like Beeline, even in Michigan, was playing certain things a little out of date with his system. And I think that's what's rubbing off on them now and why they're struggling, because, that's another story for another topic. But, yeah, that's my final thoughts about it. But, yeah, we can move on now.
All righty, man. So